everyone, I'm Linda. Welcome to my channel. If you don't subscribe, make sure you do. I'm coming to you every week with beginner quilting tips and tricks. And today I want to talk to you, although this isn't what I would consider a real beginner technique, there's no reason why anybody can't make this type of quilt. And that type of quilt you will hear me talk about are One Block Wonder quilts. And this is the first book in a series written by Maxine Rosenthal about this wonderful technique called One Block Wonder. Now, how you make a One Block Wonder quilt is you're going to choose a fabric that's pretty busy. Let me see if she has an example of showing the fabric beforehand. You want a busy fabric so that when you cut it up, you're going to get lots of contrast. So this is a good example. Down here, this jungle scene would be a perfect One Block Wonder quilt. And as you can see, up here, these are some of the blocks that came out of that fabric. So you want a fabric that's very busy, multiple colors, and it should repeat every 24 inches, meaning you will see that the start and end of the same pattern every 24 inches or so on your fabric. And what you do is you take 4.5 yards, I believe it is, you will lay it out in a way so that you're stacking those repeats of that pattern. And you take pins to help line yourself up through 6 layers of that fabric. You're going to line it up so that everything is stacked, so that when you cut your triangles, you have perfect triangles that are the same. Could be off by a smidge, it doesn't matter. It's not really noticeable when you go to put the blocks together, and it's so busy you will never see it in a finished quilt. And let me show you an example. Well, actually, let me show you, this is an example of a finished One Block Wonder quilt. Now, if any of those cuts were off slightly, you're not going to notice it when you have this much volume of color and movement in a quilt top. So One Block Wonder, once you've made, actually I can show you. So you're going to cut so you've taken those repeats and lined it up. You're going to cut it into rows. I believe the beginning size is 3.5 inches high. You take those rows and you use, it helps if you have a triangular ruler. You're going to set it up so that you are cutting equilateral triangles. So you're cutting through 6 layers of fabric, and make sure you have a sharp rotary cutting blade. You're cutting through 6 layers of fabric and you're making equilateral triangles. Set them aside in sets, either pin them together or clip them together or whatever. And then you're going to take those sets and you're going to sew them together. You sew them in half hexagons. Let me just show you an example here. So this is an example of 6 equilateral triangles. When you go to sew these together, you're going to do this with them. This might be hard to see because I have little hands, but let's try. You're going to create that. So you're going to sew that one to that one, and that one to that one, and you're going to have a row that way. You're going to do the same thing to the other side, and when you're done, you're going to have something that looks like this. Let me grab the book so I can put this on top of something so you can see what I'm doing. You will have a hexagon that looks like this. For example, don't fall apart. Oops. I lost one. You get the point. So that is a One Block Wonder quilt, and I adore this technique. It's a little fidgety and technical, especially lining up your fabric, cutting your rows and then cutting those hexagons. But once you get going, it's a really fast technique. My only advice to you is this is a place where you're going to use a design wall or a floor or a table or whatever you have. And once you've got these half hexagons together, you can adjust them. You can move them on your design wall, for instance, and just don't spend a ton of time doing this. People get stuck here. People spend weeks designing this quilt. It's not worth weeks. I used to do that. I'm guilty as most people. And it's just not worth it. I give myself 3 days max to get that quilt designed. and then it's starting to come off the wall and I'm sewing it together. And that's all that's to it. It's done. It's over. We're done. So that's my advice to you. Love One Block Wonder quilts. Actually, let me show you a couple more examples before I go. This is an interesting one, which has been made out of this fabric at the bottom. This is also an interesting one. There's a little less variety in terms of color. And there's the starting fabric there. This one's really pretty. It's got lots of contrast. So One Block Wonder by Maxine Rosenthal. One of my favorite books, definitely my favorite technique. Hope this helps. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day. Talk soon. Bye.